Welcome to Back in My Day, episode 25, which is about surrounding yourself with the right people. I did some blog posts about it, so you can read those if you want to see some of those things. But I want to talk about my inner circle. I want to talk about surrounding the people who I surround myself with and the people I want to surround myself with. This podcast typically is just about me sharing insights and perspectives on self-improvement ideas, personal development ideas. And I think this is one of those. But this is one I struggle with significantly. So I'm going to talk about, again, mine. I'm going to talk about a challenge I got from my director about my inner circle. And then I want to talk about how I'm teaching it. And I'm hoping that I'm doing things the right way. So let's talk about it. My inner circle. I have a best friend who I have not talked to in over a year. He lives in another state, different time zones, and post-COVID, around COVID, things just kind of split up, and I haven't talked to him that often. He was a creative kind of conduit for me. We like to do things creatively. I like to do things on my own and share it with him. And he was great to bounce things off of. He is great to bounce things off of. I just, again, don't do it that often. So that should tell you how my inner circle is. To start off with, that my best friend I don't talk to or haven't talked to. My wife, who is in my inner circle, wants nothing to do with my creativity. She wants nothing to do with my writing or storytelling or even the YouTube. She wants nothing to do with any of it. She wants me to be better as a father and husband. Obviously, that's something we want every single day, but also at work. So she's focused on those two sides of things. My brother, who I can talk to, who I can share things about all aspects, work, family, and creativity. But his availability is limited, typically to when he's driving to or from work. Just because family priorities, work priorities, things like that. That's not shade. There's a little bit of shade, but it's not shade. And then there's some people at work who I don't talk to about personal things, so family or creativity, personal development, any of that stuff, outside of work-wise personal development. So I have somebody there. I have people at work, at least 3 people at work I can talk to. I have my wife who I can talk to, but all of my creative wants, the things that I want to develop creatively, I don't really have them, with one exception. My wife always jokes that I don't have that many friends because the one friend I have I don't talk to. We have family friends. I should say family friends. We have friends of the parents of the kids my kids are friends with, right? So we have those, but I don't know them all well enough, and I don't talk with them frequently enough that I share here's things I want to do. What do you do? How do you do it? We haven't gotten there yet, and that's possible. So my wife jokes that I don't have any friends, and I tell her I have plenty of friends. Their names are Thoughtless, Code, Guck Truck, Jenny's a normal name, Wahoojan, Ethan, who I don't think is his real name, Nuda Buddha, Crash, people from another server. So the people that are in my inner circle are all literal online people who I don't know most of their real names, if at all any of their real names. But I do have a group of people that I can bounce things off of. And I talked about this book that I'm reading called Show Your Work, and he talks about having he calls it a scene-ness, a scene of people who are a genius, right? It's a think tank, for lack of a better word. And so I have that online. I can bounce things off of people all the time, and I always get really good feedback. from the people who respond, and I get things from the videos I post and the comments I get from those. So I have it, but my inner circle is an extended inner circle, if I can kind of share with it that way. And people are open to, so I did start this very recently, people are open to getting more involved in more direct things. So I have a group of guys from the server who were talking about how to put ideas together and edit and do things together video wise. The problem is life is in the way. So unless I find somebody who's professional, does it for a job, who doesn't require me to pay them, then I'm limited to, which is not a negative thing, but I'm limited to people who have other priorities that are massively more prioritized, rightfully so. Which becomes, it's a challenge, it's an issue in terms of productivity, but they exist nonetheless. So my inner circle is extended. It's not close. I don't have anything close to me. I don't have anything wrapped around me that I can work with creativity. And arguably, all of my self-improvement, personal development, people are focused on work. So I don't have anything directly for myself either, even outside of creativity. So this journey I'm on right now with getting healthier and losing weight and changing my diet is limited to a couple people in Discord. I'll call you out, guys. The people I chat with all the time: Cookies Monster, Yeezy, Nebula, Seth. These people I talk to, pretty regularly about my sleep and the journey that I'm going on. But again, that's it. It's extended. It's on Discord. This is where my community lies. This is where my network lies. And that's something I need to be better about, to be fair. And I know for a fact if I reached out to anyone and was like, hey, I want to get more personal with you, let's create like a personal server, and I'd like to know how I can lean on you more about this and that. There are absolutely people that would be 100% into that. I know that's plausible. Okay. And that's okay. But my inner circle, my tribe, as it were, as the blog post kind of described, are relatively non-existent, to be fair. Or extended. It's not non-existent, it's extended. Or it's limited to work. So the things that I want to do, the things that I want to develop, which are different forms of storytelling, I don't have that. I don't have that inner circle. I don't have that people around me. I'm going to pivot a little bit because I'm working on that. But I mentioned that my director challenged me with something. So to get a little personal, I am a manager at a certain level within my organization, and I want to be a manager of the next level. I want to move up. And I had a heart-to-heart with my director, my direct boss, and she pointed out that there's a lot of things that I do that are at that level, but there's also a lot of things that I do that are not yet at that level. And this is a hard conversation for me to have. I was not happy about it, but at the same time, she wasn't wrong. And one of the things she pointed out, which is an extension of this conversation, was that she doesn't see me surrounding myself with people who I want to emulate, the people of the level that I want to be at, which is true. So in the same fashion that I don't reach out and have a bunch of friends, that my friend group is my brother and my best friend and my wife, but all of the kids' parents, the kids' friends' parents, who could very easily be friends, they're all really nice people, and I get along with them, and we have a lot of things that we could mesh over. I don't reach out and I don't actively call any of them and go, hey, what are you guys doing? Do you want to do something this weekend? Do you want to go blah, blah, blah? Let's just go have a chat. Let's talk about things. Because if I want to share things, if I want to find people who I want to surround myself around for specifically creativity, I need to go find those things. So this came up at work. So this is not about my personal side. This came up at work. You want to be a manager X, and you're a manager X, and you want to be a manager Y. You need to surround yourself with people who are manager Y and above, which can just simply mean reaching out to a VP and saying, hey, can I schedule some time for coffee? And we sit down and we talk about the things that I want to do, how you did the things I want to do, because I want to be a better employee. I want to be a better manager. I want to grow. I want to develop within the company. And this is a direct line to exactly this, to surround myself with the right people. And she was right. I don't do that. I don't think about that. That's not something that I actively do. And I don't surround myself with people who are not what I want to be, but I surround myself with people that I just work with all the time, which means, this is the direct correlation, what that means is that I'm not improving because my work circle is stagnant. They're developing. I'm not saying they're not developing, but it's always the same. It's the Facebook issue you run into, where if I post something and somebody disagrees with me, I unfriend them, right? I'm not on Facebook. I don't. But if we silence the contrarians to what we think, we'll never learn. We'll never expand, and we'll always keep thinking what we think. So it's similar in terms of, I just never thought about bringing people into or expanding my circle to grab people to improve I'm going to say quality, that's not fair, but the quality of people around me so that I can then further improve. And that's the big thing I took away from this lesson was I was stagnant. I was doing things that were normal, and everything that I did for normal for me that were I'm going to say comfort zone. But I push myself, I challenge myself, but I challenge myself in ways that I decide. I don't go and get information or feedback or challenges from other people who have already done this and can give me insights into things that I can't figure out. And that's part of what all of this creativity, this genius that I talked about earlier, when I read about this, that's the idea, is you're not going to see the weaknesses, you're not going to see the flaws in the things you do, because until somebody else points out that it's a flaw, you usually can't recognize it unless it's blatant, right? Unless it's blatant. But that's kind of the lesson I learned from my director when it came down to it. And I was like, okay, and again, I was so upset when we had the conversation. I was annoyed. She called it and I mentioned this on the Bramble, she called it the vulnerability hangover, because I opened myself up to it and I didn't like what I heard. I didn't like all of what I heard. I liked some of what I heard. I didn't like all of what I heard. And okay, this actually correlates to things I'm already trying to do. So clearly she wasn't wrong. And we're looking for ways to navigate that. We're looking for ways to do that. Okay, that being said, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was what I'm trying to do with the kids when it comes to this. That as I'm learning this in my 40s, people. I'm learning this in my 40s. But that's okay. So what I want to be able to do is learn the things that I never learned before so that I can teach my kids earlier than I learned them, right? People say you try to teach your kids things so they don't make the same mistakes you did. I disagree with that. I want my kids to make the same mistakes that I did because I can explain that to them. I can explain why it was a mistake. I want my kids to make mistakes. You can't learn unless you make mistakes. And I have to navigate that, obviously, because it scares the hell out of me. But at the same time, that's how they will learn. What I want to do is I want to teach them things earlier than I learned them. That's the goal that I have. And this is a very important goal, and it's about again, not just the right people, but carving out the wrong people. And I have had people around me that were terrible. I have had people around me that dragged me down, that did not want to see me feel like I was progressing, or did not want to see me feel like I had done something beneficial, or see me learn. And that's the lesson that I'm learning now, so that I can teach that to my kids, that I want to be a part of their inner circle for the rest of their lives, for the rest of my life. I hope that I die before them. For the rest of my life, I want to be a part of their inner circle. And I want to teach them that when I'm doing something that doesn't make them feel like I belong in their inner circle, that we need to have that conversation, that we need to talk about it so that I can also do something better or explain to them why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Turning that around in terms of being a part of their inner circle, I think it's also important for kids to understand that they're not supposed to always be happy with the feedback that they get. And I want them to understand when somebody doesn't make them better, doesn't always mean that somebody always has to make them happy. That's a hard lesson to learn. They're not ready for it. But just like this experience I had with my boss, I was not happy about hearing about that. And I'll tell you, it was 2 days before I rationalized that she was right. Like, I agreed with her. These are things that, but I was like, I'm ready to be that manager. I'm ready to have this promotion. What are you talking about? And I spent 2 days just being obstinate, like in my own skin, and just being like, yeah, I was so mad. I was so mad. Oh, I was so mad. And it took 2 days for me to rationalize that she actually just told me the things I already knew. And I just wasn't happy that she didn't just give me the promotion. And that's the thing we have to learn. I don't want her to not be in my circle. She was my mentor before anyway. But I don't want her to not be in my circle simply because she told me something that wasn't giving me what I wanted. And that's the lesson I have to figure out how to teach an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old without making it this big adult conversation. That's kind of where we're at. And I feel like that's what this ultimately is at the end of the day, is a massive learning experience about how I don't have the right people around me for creativity. And part of that is me. Well, most of it is me. It's not me reaching out and seeking out. So I will be. That's going to be my next couple of weeks, is finding people that can make me better in the creative ways I want to get better in creativity. And for work, I'm going to start reaching out and looking for directors that I can have meetings with, even if they're once a month meetings, to sit down and just talk about things. I'm gonna struggle figuring out what to talk about, but that's a problem for another day. Getting the meetings set up is what's the most important thing. So hopefully this is a little bit of a dive into my inner circle, the challenges I'm having with my inner circle, how my inner circle has challenged me as well, and then what I'm taking away from it that hopefully I can explain and teach my kids so that they know when there's somebody who is bad for them, that they can get rid of them. And when there's somebody that's good for them, that doesn't mean they always make them happy, but that does mean that they're always looking to challenge them. They should still make them happy from time to time. Like, don't get me wrong. My boss talks me up. She makes me feel great for the things that I do great, and she challenges me for the things I need to work on. My wife is the same way. She still won't tell me I'm a good singer, by the way. If you guys want to ping her, like, you can put it in the comments. I just need someone to once in a while tell me I'm a good singer, right? I don't need it every day, but man, once a month, that'd be nice. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see you guys next week. We are going to talk about legacy. I wanted to do a lore drop on what I know about my family and what I know about legacy, and kind of just talk about that. I thought that would be fun. Thank you all for hanging out. We'll see you next week. Carry on my wayward son.